In search of wild food, hunters and chefs team up for survival competition. Nothing can be brought except pots and pans. To obtain ingredients, they must hunt themselves. They will survive for 7 days in the harshest environment, until they create an authentic wild feast. Can they succeed in this challenge? As the helicopter slowly descends, Chef Matt and Hunter Josie make a dazzling entrance. The challenge takes place in the Rhodope Valley in Eastern Europe. They must utilize all resources in this valley to create a dish comparable to a high-end restaurant. The plane has just landed. Matt immediately starts introducing his equipment. A large cast iron pot specially designed for outdoor activities, crafted with 100-year-old mysterious iron. The brothers are dropped off by the show crew on a hilltop, surrounded by steep cliffs. A river can be vaguely seen at the foot of the mountain. The two immediately set off towards the water source. Matt suggests they should go down the mountain to find the river, but Josie feels that going down the mountain is not a good idea. Let's skip the village feast. There should be a water source in the valley. They can first look around nearby. However, after walking for several hours, the two brothers still didn't find a water source. Seeing the sky gradually darkening, it was a sign that it was going to rain. They had to hurry to build a shelter. The two started looking for tinder to start a fire. There was a lot of dry moss on the trees. They quickly gathered some while it wasn't raining yet. If they kept delaying, it would soon be dark. Seeing that they couldn't find a water source in the valley, the two brothers had no choice but to go down the mountain. They aimed to reach the river before nightfall. There would be more prey near the water source. Taking a risk was still worth it. After walking for about 2 more hours, they finally arrived at the edge of a small river. It was going to pour down rain soon. Luckily, their tent was waterproof. Matt obediently stayed in the shelter. The task of building the house was given to Josie, who had a raincoat. They thought the storm would last a long time. Unexpectedly, it stopped in less than an hour. Josie was still busy building the house. Matt went to the river to fetch a bucket of water. He also picked a lot of leaves from the trees on the bank. Boiling them in a pot would make tea. Don't be fooled by his fancy ideas. Who knew it would be so complicated at this point? Not only did the whole pot of water spill over, even the fire was almost extinguished. Josie was quite speechless on the side. It seems like this guy is just here to cause trouble. He can't even do this task properly. He told Matt to stay wherever it's cooler. He personally took care of starting the fire and boiling water. Luckily, Josie's survival skills are top-notch. It took a lot of effort to save the fire. Matt felt a bit embarrassed, so he started chatting with Josie. They chatted endlessly about this and that. Josie didn't want to listen to Matt's chatter. He simply put on his clothes and went out hunting. He just wanted some peace and quiet alone. Josie originally planned to go up the mountain to catch a wild boar or something. Suddenly, thunder started while halfway up the mountain. It's very dangerous to travel in this kind of weather. Josie had to choose to temporarily retreat. The challenge continued into the next day. The weather today is still quite good. Josie arrived by the cliff early in the morning. This area is where antelopes are active. Josie planned to try his luck. Matt didn't wake up until 9 o'clock. He opened his eyes and realized Josie wasn't at the camp. He couldn't rely on Josie for everything. He went into the forest to look for food. There are many mushrooms growing in the forest. Judging by the appearance, they should be morels. Matt is at least a chef. Can you tell just by looking at him if he can cook? This kind of mushroom has a fresh and tender texture and is rich in nutrients. It costs several hundred yuan per kilogram if you put it outside. Now everything is free, no need to pay. Matt can dig as much as he wants. Josie squatted for half a day and suddenly heard a noise. Suddenly, a group of antelopes appeared on the hillside opposite. Josie's mouth was watering. Unfortunately, the distance was too far for the arrow to hit. But Josie was unwilling to give up like this. He planned to secretly climb to the hillside opposite. As long as the distance is close to 30 meters, he was confident he could take down the antelope with one arrow. Lao Lu even took off his shoes to prevent making noise. However, antelopes are very alert animals. They disappear the moment they sense danger. Matt, who was digging wild vegetables in the forest, made a new discovery. There are many sorrel plants on the ground. This thing is not cheap in restaurants either. Its sour and sweet taste opens up the appetite. And you can't even buy it at the regular market. But now you can take as much as you want here. As long as it's edible, pack it all up and take it away. Matt was very excited when he returned to the camp. He couldn't wait to share his harvest with Josie. Unfortunately, Josie didn't catch any prey today. These two have been quite unlucky. They never seem to have both vegetables and meat together. It's really not easy to have a balanced diet of both meat and vegetables. Josie swore to catch an antelope tomorrow. Matt didn't blame his companion. He also knew that ingredients with legs are hard to catch. It's easier to dig wild vegetables from the ground. Anyway, they won't go hungry today. They considered it a weight loss meal. Matt was getting ready to fetch water to make soup. Suddenly, he noticed there were many small fish in the river. He quickly called his partner Josie. After all, Matt isn't good at hunting. They still relied on Josie's guidance. Having a teammate providing support on the side, Josie suddenly felt capable again. Josie skillfully caught a small fish bare-handed. Josie looked quite fierce as well. This guy won't try to steal my thunder, will he? Although this fish is small in size, it's enough to add flavor to the mushroom soup. Matt's good luck wasn't over yet. Next, he used his old method to catch several more fish. The more he fished, the more skilled he became and quickly mastered the knack. Now it's Josie's turn to be embarrassed. A professional hunter is actually not as good as a cook. Cooking is Matt's specialty. First, fry the mushrooms and fish in the pan. Then add some chamomile leaves as seasoning. The essence of this dish lies in the milkweed. Take the next step ahead of time. It looks quite appetizing. The two brothers worked hard for a full 2 days. Finally, they completed the first wilderness dish. Not only is it delicious, but you won't get tired of it even if you eat a lot. Selling it for $888 in a restaurant is definitely not excessive. Although the ingredients for this dish are not cheap, but this is not the main goal of the two brothers. They are aiming for a gourmet dish. It wouldn't be enough without a whole leg of lamb. Early on the third day, Josie went out hunting again. He deliberately chose an area with dense grass. Antelopes love this kind of grass. He is prepared to stay here and wait, quietly waiting for the antelopes to come and feed. Josie must not make any noise, because antelopes have a highly developed sense of hearing. Last time, he was discovered even when barefoot. This time, let's find a place to hunker down. However, several hours passed. Josie still hadn't seen a single strand of wool. Just then, it started pouring rain in the forest. Josie knew she had no chance today. Antelopes don't forage in the rain. He didn't want to go back empty-handed. He could only put on his raincoat and wander around, hoping for a miracle to happen next. Matt is also looking for food here. Not sure if it's a gift from heaven. He actually found a nest of quail eggs under a tree. Matt felt embarrassed to take them all. He only took half of them. It's better not to tell others. Back at the camp, he started heating the oil directly. He planned to cook a dish with morel mushrooms, inspired by an eastern delicacy, the legendary chicken stew with mushrooms. Josie wandered in the forest for half a day. Suddenly spotted a deer below the hill. Just as he was about to launch an attack, the deer disappeared from his sight. Meanwhile, Matt was getting more and more moist. He didn't know where he pulled out 2 scallion seedlings from. He also found a spice on the ground. It's absolutely perfect for stir-frying. Josie found a pile of deer droppings. He knew at a glance it was left by a deer. If really hungry, this thing can also be eaten. Can keep it for a critical moment. But he's not hungry enough for that yet. Josie walked 20 miles that day. Seeing that night was approaching, he had to head back to the camp despite that. But Josie is someone who cares about his reputation. He doesn't want Matt to think he's lagging behind. He was originally prepared to give it another try. But as he saw the mist thickening on the horizon, Josie had to abandon the idea of hunting for now. However, he was very far from the shelter. He might not make it back even by daybreak. Helplessly, he had to spend the night in the forest. It's crucial to know how to survive a night in the wilderness. This helps prevent surprise attacks from wild animals. The next morning, Josie continued on his way. He encountered a gazelle in the forest again. Before he could react, in the blink of an eye, it disappeared. It seemed like it was teasing him on purpose. Josie started to doubt his life choices a bit. He was someone with a reputation in the survival world. Now, he had been played by his prey for several days. This made him wonder where his reputation would stand. Just when he was feeling frustrated, suddenly, another deer appeared in front of Josie. He was almost losing his temper. He charged forward with his bow and arrow. This time, he seized the opportunity. The little deer instantly reached heaven. Josie showed off his skills. If the tiger doesn't show its might, it'll be seen as a sick cat. Feeling stifled for several days, Josie can finally hold her head up high. But he is still far from the camp. Looks like he'll have to sleep in the forest tonight. He hung his spoils on the treetops to prevent other predators from coming to steal. Matt hasn't seen Josie for 2 days. He started to worry if Josie had an accident. In fact, his worries were unnecessary. Josie is currently eating grilled meat and singing. Life couldn't be more comfortable. The next morning, Josie continued on his way. He had to hurry back to report to Matt. He walked the entire morning. Josie successfully met up with Matt. Matt greatly admired Josie's skills. Big Brother had to step in at a critical moment. Josie's hunting skills are truly remarkable. Now that the ingredients are ready, Matt immediately started preparing the cooking. He set up a giant barbecue grill. First, apply a layer of colorful spices to the meat. Tie the prepared deer meat to the rack. Plenty of scallions, ginger, and garlic. A light mushroom soup to balance the richness. Spring onions also came in handy at this time. Matt busied himself for 2 hours. The fragrant roasted deer is fresh out of the oven. He cut the most delicious part for Josie, to reward him for his hard work hunting these past 2 days. The deer meat is crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, without any gamey taste. The flavor is delicious and juicy, with a rich charcoal aroma. It definitely counts as a gourmet dish. With this, the challenge for the two brothers is also considered complete. They will pack up the uneaten deer meat to take away. They will bring it back to share with their own family. What kind of challenge will they face next? Let's wait and see.